This is the plaintiff, Fiona Collins. She says she gave the defendant a deposit for a party bus, and when COVID interrupted her plans, she asked for her money back and was told deposits are non-refundable. She was never told that. She never signed a contract, and she's here suing for the return of her $1,220. This is the defendant, Sam Levy. He says he most certainly did tell the plaintiff deposits are non-refundable, and the reservation was final. He's sorry she changed her mind, but a deal's a deal. He's accused of not budging.
All parties, please raise your right hands. The Beacons Court is now in session. The Honorable Judge Marilyn Leon is now presiding. Litigants have been sworn, Your Honor.
Thank you, Douglas.
You're welcome.
Okay, Fiona Collin, you are suing the company represented here by Mr. Levy?
Yeah.
Okay. The limo company for $1,220, a deposit that you placed that you want refunded. Tell me what happened here.
Yes, Your Honor. So on June 15th, I called to make a reservation for a limo for about 35 people, about 28 to 35 people as a passenger.
Is this 2021?
Yes.
Okay.
June 2021, Your Honor.
Okay.
And I made it the 15th. I forgot what day of the week it was. I know it was during the week. I made it on the 15th. I was on the phone. They said I need to make a reservation to hold it. I think of it, I need to hold it because I don't want to lose that big party bus.
Right.
I make the reservation. He told me it was going to be 40% deposit. I was not aware that the deposit was not refundable. He charges my card.
Hold on one second. How is it that you made the deposit? Did you respond to an email he sent you? Was it online? How did you do it?
It was over the phone. I said, okay,
did you
that's
ever
fine.
ask if the deposit was refundable? Because what's the idea behind a deposit? You don't want to lose the party bus. Well, he doesn't want to lose someone else's business either, right? So did you ever ask, is the deposit refundable?
I did not ask because he told me he was sending me a contract after the deposit was made.
Okay, so according to you, after the deposit was made and after you give him the money, because that's the time you want to ask is when you're giving the money, not after you're giving the money. But he sends you a contract, and did you sign that contract or did you not sign that contract?
I did not sign that contract.
What was the party bus for?
It was to bring family and friends to a wedding.
Whose wedding?
It was a group of us.
Like a cousin's,
it was a cousin of mine.
A cousin of yours was having a wedding, and so you were trying to get a group of family accommodated to get to the wedding. And then when did you change your mind about the party bus?
5 days later, Your Honor.
Okay, and why did you change your mind?
Because a lot of the adults were getting nervous with the rise of COVID, and they were just like, they're not sure if they're going to go to the wedding or not because of the rising, and they weren't sure about taking the vaccine. So I said, you know what, to be safe than sorry, I don't want to put nobody at risk.
Right, but why didn't you talk to them before sending a 40% deposit to the limo, or whatever amount you sent to the limo company? Like, in other words, all those people didn't just change their mind in 3 days or 5 days. You know, had you spoken to all of them before doing it, or you just figured, oh, no problem, this will be refundable?
I had a certain amount, and I needed to break down the price. So I needed to have a price first and explain, and I was shopping around.
That's fine. Then don't send the deposit and send an email to everybody, right? That would be a better way to do it. Don't send them a deposit. Send an email. Tell everybody you have to hear in 24 hours because you don't want to lose the bus. And then people answer. And then, right? That would be a better idea rather than putting down a deposit. Now, Mr. Levi, according to her, 5 days later, she cancels.
Yes. Basically, when she made a reservation, we let her know on the phone that all reservations are finals. She said, okay, she put the deposit down. We sent an email with a receipt. On the receipt, you can see all reservations are final. There is no refund. She saw it. She knew that there is no refund. She replied back, I authorize the charge.
Yana, can I respond to that?
Yeah, he's showing me an email that he sends to you, and it's while you're on the phone with him because it's still the same June 15th, and it's at 9:43 in the morning, where you acknowledge, receive this email, and I agree to the payment. And in that payment receipt, It says this is a non-refundable payment. What's your answer to that?
This was done after the charge. My card was charged first, and then I get a receipt that says it's non-refundable. And then I get a contract.
Right,
after.
But explain to me, Mr. Levi, how does the sentence, I, Fiona Collin, have received this email, services above, I agree to the payment, sincerely, Fiona Collin. How does the client have that appear in an email to you? Do they check a box?
No, she replied back. As you see, she replied back.
So she actually types all that?
She typed exactly.
Okay, so I'm looking at 9:43. He sends you something that says your reservation is final. This is non-refundable. And at 9:46, you respond with the sentence. You're responding to his email. I hear your frustration. I understand what you're saying. It's a lot of money, and and then people bailed on you, which you didn't expect them to bail, and I understand that. But I understand him too. And when you're telling me, oh, I just gave the money and I assumed it would be refundable. By default, a deposit is non-refundable. The whole idea is you're holding something. So there's going to be a cost to you. You're not paying the whole thing, but you're putting a deposit to hold something. Why would you think it was refundable?
Why did I think the deposit was not refundable? We just came from a pandemic. Wedding shut down.
I don't know. I'm still in a pandemic, apparently, because I can't do anything.
Agree.
Right.
I agree. But if the bride would have got COVID, if I would have got COVID.
Of course, you made it during but you did. Yeah, I know. And there's a cost to that. I mean, there's a cost.
I understand that.
Yeah, but why would you think, I understand that first of all, you made the reservation June 15th of 2021. So we were well into a pandemic when you were, woo, party, let's get a party bus.
Understand.
So it's not like, oh, something horrible happened to me, Judge. That's not what we're talking about.
No, I'm not
So
saying
what
that at
happened
all.
really is that a bunch of adults decided, flare up, Delta variant, Mu variant, variant this, variant that. Shoot me, I'm not going to the wedding. That's what happened, which is kind of the thing you want to know who's going to use the party bus and divvy up the cost beforehand. Once these adults started to, all of a sudden it became more and more cost to share among fewer people. That's when you canceled. And why should there be zero cost to you? You physically typed the sentence. So did you physically type this sentence? I, Fiona Collin, have received the email and I agree to the payment. Did you physically type that?
Your Honor, yes. I was literally on the phone with him. He said, agree to the charge that your credit card will be charged $1,220. And I said, I am agreeing to the 40% deposit charge. I did not see it's non-refundable. And I do.
Can I just ask you this? When did you learn that your deposit was non-refundable according to you?
On the phone when I called him 5 days later.
Okay,
and then
if he sent you an email, because I'm looking at proof of the email, okay? Why would you not know until 5 days later that it was non-refundable when he sent you an email before you type, yes, I agree to the payment? 3 minutes before you type that, he sends you an email.
I did not see.
Okay, you didn't see it. I understand. So now the question then becomes, that happens. It happens to the best of us. You make a mistake. But the question becomes, who eats the price for your mistake? And it seems to me like it's going to be you. If you want a deposit to be refundable, you better make sure that terms say it's refundable. Because the point of a deposit is to stop him from being able to do business with anybody else. My verdict in this case is for the defendant.
So the defendant prevails. The plaintiff will not get her deposit back. Probably a tough lesson for her to learn. Let's see what she thinks. Ms. Collin, tell me, what's your reaction right now?
Of course, I don't agree with the judge's decision because there was a contract that was not signed or provided to the defendant. But if she feels that a receipt is binding than an actual contract for services, then that is her choice.
Well, it's what you wrote in the email that you sent back to him that really cooked your goose in this case. You were on the hook. No question about it. The defendant, let's talk to him. Sam, how you feel about this case?
They asked me something for deposit back, but most people understand that, deposit is not refundable. That's the reason we're taking a deposit, most people do understand. Some people argue, but they do understand if they do, reply back or do they sign it and, it's fine and that's it.
All right. Well, look, I think everybody's learned a lesson here, everybody who is watching this anyway, and you prevail. You're in the right. No question about it. So congratulations.
Doug, this is a reason why you got to read contracts, and also you got to pay attention to emails that go back and forth. There is such a thing as a non-refundable deposit, and that means even if it's not your fault, if it's non-refundable, it's non-refundable.
The law in my state does not recognize verbal agreements, and I noticed in a recent episode you made a determination based upon a verbal agreement. My question is, when rendering a verdict, do you consider the state laws of the litigants, or do you base it upon the law of the jurisdiction of your own state?
Part of our agreement at the People's Court, and this is kind of the genius behind the invention of court shows, which of course started with the People's Court, the very first court show. Part of the agreement that we have with the parties is that we will apply the law of the state that they are from.
Their jurisdiction.
Their own jurisdiction. That way they can expect a result that should be similar to what would have happened. Of course, every judge might rule differently, but similar to what would have happened. They don't give up the rights and obligations of their jurisdiction. That's the right way to do this. So I always apply the law from their jurisdiction. Now, the statement in the question that my state doesn't recognize verbal contracts, I don't think that's accurate. No. Every state recognizes verbal contracts.
There'll be
there'll be exceptions to that, but you cannot run a country not recognizing verbal obligations because that's not accurate.
Sure. And as a practical matter, then you have to know the state law from 50 different states.
Well, I don't have to know it beforehand. I just have to know it before I walk out, which is really good. I have to just know it before I walk out.